My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is sexual assault and battery by demons that are stalking with impossible light. And this is at what is, I just want to be clear, 2:17 in the morning. Demons that are lurking in the dark behind this so-called studio, behind 602 North Euclid Avenue, Bucket Crab and Crawfish, the Iglesia Apostolica Prophetica, the entity that's gang stalking off of F Street in Euclid, demons that are stalking in the path in the specific environment. You're not doing anything other than
engaging in what is sexual assault and battery under the guise of making a turn onto the street. It's not headlights that's touching all over me, that's engineer light, and it's also not the sun that's rising over me. That's the specific environment where sex offenders are lurking at 2 in the morning stalking, just like they are with the as the entity that's stalking in planes and helicopters right here at Euclid and F. This is P.O.C. The entity engaging in sexual assault and battery at 2 o'clock in the morning
is the entity that's going to federal prison for kidnapping and criminal summoning, is going to be losing custody of children, sex offenders engaging in sexual violence 24 hours a day, maintaining criminal surveillance, not traffic. That's the people of the state, the terrorists in the United States of America. This is P.O.C. It is at what is 537 North Euclid Avenue. That's a sex offense committed as an entity. Okay, doing it over and over and over again, 100 times over. Okay, these are the demon possessed that are obsessed and severely mentally deranged. It is again 2:18 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. Sexual assault and battery. These are the sex offenders that are losing custody of children. They sit inside, by the way, of the OVITT Family Community Library, showing their faces while they're stalking as an entity. Doing so 2 o'clock in the morning, those are the demons that are committing murder. While they're engaging what is stalking with impossible light, they are exposing the ability to commit murder while they're gang stalking. Stalking with impossible light activity, like the demon possessed are. Stalking at 2 o'clock in the morning, like the demon possessed are. Stalking as an entity, where it has nothing to do with your headlights. When you're engaging in that light activity, stalking with as an entity is all certifiable conduct, very deranged group conduct, which is the conduct of demons. Okay, this is the entity that's gang stalking as a neighborhood. Everybody is engaged in the pattern of conduct, while one demon and a group of them are engaging in that conduct, and they're doing so in the specific environment where it's nothing other than the P.O.C. Okay, this is the entity that's stalking me, and they're doing so obsessively. Not only spending millions of dollars using commercial planes and helicopters and stalking as departments. Just want to be clear, the demon-possessed Ontario Fire Department engaging in the same obsession with me. Sexual assault and battery, wanting to touch me so bad that you're touching with engineer light and using what is a very expensive means, stalking in a fire truck, which is also very highly embarrassing when the demons are exposed as such. But that's what the Ontario Fire Department is sharing in. Pacing along Euclid Avenue, stalking in the path, engaging in criminal summoning to commit the sex offense of sexual assault and battery, gang stalking. This is P.O.C. And the entity is maintaining this conduct while they are monitoring the evidence. So another sex offender and another sex offender repeating it. This is the entity that's engaging in stalking. That's not traffic. They're maintaining activity. That's P.O.C. And the context regarding that is the fake sun and the fake moon. The fake sun that's in the same position as I show you what I captured at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when you're looking at it at 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. When you're looking at it at 6 in the evening when I'm reminding you about what I'm capturing at 10:30 in the morning. This is an entity that is indeed stalking it. Sexual assault and battery while I show you the light activity resulting from what's supposed to on the surface appear like headlights. These are stalkers. These are vagina monitors. Okay, that are coming out, making sure that they're maintaining surveillance as a city, taking shifts, stalking. This is how pathetic the demon-possessed are, and that's how threatening the demon-possessed are at the same time. This is what is Tracy Banks. This is the entity that is going out of its way stalking as a government. This P.O.C., it's a group effort. And that group effort is the means of what is the federal prosecution of the people of the state. No circumstances is resulting in that light activity. None. Those are demons. Okay? Those are demons that want to touch as a means of harassment, as a means of violence, as a means of hostility and retaliation, the animal and barbaric conduct of the demon-possessed that are monitoring you while they're stalking you with light. P.O.C. It is, by the way, 2:23 a.m. Just want to document gang stalking. This is the entity that's molesting with impossible light, stalking under a fake sun, following around, stalking in commercial planes and in helicopters, and is engaging in what are the mentally ill and deranged means of surveillance, such as gang stalking as a population and maintaining presence in the path as an entity. The entity is engaged in psychopathic pacing, stalking in commercial planes, while the demon remains in close proximity. This is psychopathic pacing while the demon remains in close proximity. This is where the entity is engaged in that pattern of conduct, and you have demon after demon. And Omnitrend is engaging in the pattern of conduct as well. They're engaging in P.O.C. This is stalking at a bus stop. This is what the entity does with the Ontario Police Department. It's what they're doing with the Ontario International Airport. And this is the stalking that Jason Fields and Tracy Banks are engaging in with an entity as well. Conspiring murder, stalking obsessively, doing so under the delusion that they're going to keep money, they're avoiding prison, that they're engaged in any manner of witchcraft. When it is a proof to the world, you're witnessing mental illness by those that have been playing in too many dark spirits. This is criminal activity that I'm going to prosecute for. This is a vagina monitor that's stalking me outside and is obsessing over me while I am sleeping, as are all of them. They engage in sexual assault and battery all night long, one demon after another, molesting. This is the same venue, okay? This is a population obsessed with that. This is a pattern of conduct, and it's currently 8:44 a.m. To engage in stalking someone and then to do so as a population is the certifiable conduct of the people of the state. These are demons that are pacing the traffic and the foot traffic. And the entities maintaining flight right here by the airport. These are demons. This is P.O.C. This is the prosecution, by the way, of the Ontario Police Department, who refer to the people of the state as the ones that are engaging in what is criminal summoning. They're going to federal prison. This is understanding how the entity is going to be prosecuted. P.O.C. And this is who the people of the state are stalking at a bus stop for and with, where the government is stalking in planes, and they're doing so hovering. This demon over here, they're stalking with light. This is psychopathic pacing. So this is the hazard lights. The demon just leaves the vehicle there. It's prolonged light activity. They're accomplishing the same thing, psychopathic pacing, all stalking, while the entity has the fake sun here, which I've also already documented, including yesterday, okay, when I went and I got those license plates. They're stalking and monitoring yesterday under the fake sun. They're stalking and monitoring now with the government that's engaging what is deviating, flying over what is the Bethel congregation. This is the RAYBON mortgage at 5370 Good Avenue over here at the bus stop. And remember, when I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library, which is south off of C Street, I'm at F Street. So this is the entity that is coming north to be where I'm at. 9WCR675 is identified clearly as a third party who is stalking. This is where I'm showing you at nightfall the entity is molesting with impossible light, which is not caused by their headlights. Neither is this the natural environment where the entity is maintaining a fake sun from sunrise until sunset. And that has nothing to do with the operations of the airport at Terminals 2 and 4, where the entity is located at the 2500 Airport Road, and they're stalking with commercial planes, hovering and doing so in concert with the entity that's maintaining the elements of monitoring. This is criminal monitoring. License 52830 handicap. This is P.O.C. and this is in conformity to what I'm documenting on the Google Drive, the pictures, the images, and also as I'm breaking down and analyzing with screenshots what they're doing and what they are as they do it under the law. 8TDP 914, EC14M04 paper plate, EL62D43 paper plate, 9JD, I can't really see that one, 9SVM035, 4136303. And this is all state action. Just want to be clear, one demon after another. And all night long, while you see in the previous video, a stalker wants to come and be next to me, stalking, while they are all engaged in pacing all around. That's how obsessed with me they are. That's how mentally ill they are, which you can also clearly see while you're stalking with commercial planes. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:46 a.m. Bethel congregation is a facilitating venue. They're creating audible activity right now. This is P.O.C. Here is ongoing psychopathic pacing that's underway in the sky space. So the purpose of having what is the sound of a plane that's taking off that would not even be in the sky space at that elevation nor heard is for the criminal purposes of monitoring. Monitoring with the demon possessed, the people of the state that you already know are stalking with engineered light. When monitoring is underway, criminal surveillance in California 6TBG677 is stalking with light with their foot on the brake. They're doing so while they're crossing path in the environment where they're maintaining light activity. They're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, pacing in the same way that the government exposes them while that government is stalking as an airport. Ontario police are in images, 9:48 a.m., where I'm showing you and reminding you where the fake sun is, that you can see it shining over this building yesterday, and I'm reminding you that it's over that same building at 1:11 in the afternoon when you're comparing the time. This is on the Google Drive as I'm referring to it because it's identifying federal stalking. Ontario police are conspicuously stalking by crossing path on the street at the moment that I'm capturing the license plates of the people of the state that I already documented who are engaging in the pattern of conduct with the gang stalking government that's using commercial planes. Ontario police are communicating a threat while they are indeed engaging surveillance with the people of the state. That's the same entity that's going to be disbanded and is going to prison. Okay, this is P.O.C. Ontario police are being documented as well with gang stalking while the airport is stalking. This is mentally ill behavior in addition to corrupt. That's Southwest Airlines. That's stalking on this street right here at this location, 537 North Euclid Avenue, after 6 p.m., where the fake sun is also relevant. Also here over the same intersection. These are all means of light activity and crossing path. These are all co-conspirators of murder. They're all engaging in federal stalking, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. So is the Ontario Police Department. That's in the images, crossing path, communicating a threat while gang stalking with the people of the state who know that they're being documented. What the entity is doing is not only stalking. The moment that the entity is doing it, it's doing it pursuant to knowledge regarding the surveillance that they're engaging in on devices. That's relevant to what is also mentally ill behavior. The entity is coming from the airport at 2500 airport, yet it's flying over 536 North Euclid Avenue. Okay? The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking. You know that the entity keeps a fake sun through the window of Omnitrans. Omnitrans is a terrorist, and they're going to prosecute the entire bus line, which is also relevant to Alan D. WAPNER, the terrorism by the airport and the terrorism by a public transit line that demons are operating to engage in the pattern of plan. That's light activity, audible activity. 1613648, bus 1215. Okay, that's the P.O.C. That's a demon that's engaged in monitoring. Every other time they're driving right by me, targeting. And also they're targeting when they stop and engage in monitoring as well. And as my documentation shows, they're targeting me when I'm aboard those buses, in the same way that the airport is stalking me when I'm on those buses, and the police department are stalking, and the people of the state are stalking when I'm aboard those buses. This is P.O.C. This is 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is engaged in what is gang stalking and furtherance of murder, federal stalking. P.O.C. It's 10 a.m. Crossing path. License plate 9RXU322. And what you're already aware of is the fake sun documentation. So I'm going to show you right here is an iteration of stalking with light facilitation while the masses are engaged in what is pacing around me, concentrating light activity while I'm at the bus stop. Okay, C717N0 is gang stalking me while a demon leaves their vehicle abandoned, parked on the road, in other words, with the hazard lights on. They're doing so as a means of light activity, and I've documented this pattern as early as Pomona, California in 2018, when I'm documenting before I started pointing out the fake sun, before that became the part of my documentation in Pomona, where I am on Valley. The entity is gang stalking me while I'm living in my car. The demon possessed, who I don't know, engaging in a pattern, leaving their vehicles parked for a prolonged period with hazard lights on, light activity, and the people of the state are pacing all around. And in Pomona, California, what you'll see in my documentation is the fake sun is over me. This is the P.O.C. of stalking with light, 30703C3. It's facilitation, and it's a federal offense. It's relevant for federal prison because of the thousands of people, hundreds and thousands of people that are monitoring you while demons engage in light activity, where the airport is stalking, where the police are monitoring. 9NZY917. And this is the same thing that they're doing when they use sirens and lights. This is nothing other than a vehicle used as light activity with the entity and then at nightfall you're talking about this is the same light activity that's causing multiple shadows and shadows to vacillate all across the wall. It's not normal light, it's engineer light, and it's facilitation while demons are engaged in what is criminal monitoring as an entity, monitoring on communication devices. Starbucks, Empire Publishing, Bethel congregation, who sounds the bell at 9:44 in the morning, doing so with regard to monitoring, Chevron, all these venues that are engaged in facilitation, gang stalking and facilitation. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:13 a.m. This is light activity. And this is the demonic pattern. This is certifiable conduct, and it's also corrupt. This is where the entities engaging in the P.O.C. with each other. License plate 6T06218. License plate 17338 Thomas 2. And the entity is monitoring as I am documenting on my device, threatening with the Ontario International Airport, psychopaths stalking me with commercial planes, and stalking me by that department that commits kidnapping, 53759 Paul 2. And they're engaging in criminal activity with the city of Ontario in furtherance of murder, using the vehicle as a means of light activity in furtherance of murder. It's not protected conduct. It's not private speech. It is also not lawful. You will be prosecuted for literally using your hazard lights while you're gang stalking, which is no mystery. It's P.O.C. and it's state action. P.O.C. License plate George Charlie 004, handicap. License 8AJY215. License 9LPM836. License MUISQDR. Here, listen to the plane activity, and I just captured Southwest stalking over the street. Let me actually get video of this, actually. What you'll pay attention to is that the entity is deviating more and more north as I am north up the street on Euclid. Remember last night at the Starbucks, they're south of the location where I'm at now. They're flying over me, stalking by plane at that Starbucks. The entity is engaging in that while I'm at the Pizza Hut. For example, just giving you examples of where the entity is stalking, very clearly stalking me as I go up and down the street, as I go to the Stater Brothers, as I walk through the neighborhood, the entity flying through the neighborhood, flying over their homes. This is the entity that is stalking, and it exposes license 7ERK157, license 8JLF357, license ZMZ00M, some sort of Olympic victory. They're a demon. They're gang stalking. 7EJU276, 9MLH393. They're all monitoring in this parking lot, and demons are holding church services, engaged in the pattern of conduct like every other criminal, every other serial killer, every other demon. This is P.O.C, and it is currently 10:16 a.m., where the demon is maintaining the light activity as I captured on video, and this is facilitating conduct, and this is stalking in the path. 8ZQF441 P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, like I stated, like you can hear, the entity is stalking by the airport and is doing so while I'm at 536 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting the fake sun over me at the sunrise, where it's over that Bethel congregation. And then I come back in the afternoon and I show you, I remind you about what you're looking at yesterday, for example, during the 9 a.m. hour. And I remind you about what you're looking at, for example, November 25th, what you're looking at 1:11 in the afternoon. And I'm showing you the fake sun as Southwest Airlines is gang stalking me as I documented during the summer, during daylight savings time. And the entity has the fake sun over this same location after 6 p.m. 9MLH393, 7HVN734, 8ARE448. In other words, it's a recognition of the environment, and that's the significance of recognizing the pattern. The demons that are centering their stalking conduct, improving stalking is relevant to that supernatural environment, where the maintenance of that environment is key to the elements of monitoring. You are stalking when you're engaging in criminal surveillance with the government that practices satanic means of surveillance, meaning we're all under a fake sun and surrounded with engineer light, and we don't even know it. It's surveillance and it's criminal. 8ZGA442. And you're also seeing how psychotic they are when the entity wants to maintain a whole fake society, a whole illusion regarding privacy, a whole illusion regarding the environment that surrounds us, and we're under surveillance, and we're subject to targeting in the way that the entity has targeted me, seeking to get away with murdering me, and this is an abysmal failure of that. But you're looking at what is unleashed, what is unveiled, is mental illness that's been residing there the entire time, a threat to your life and your safety. 6JEX163, 6LNU967, 9KFC912, 6YPP912. I've already walked through this neighborhood over here at F Street and Lemon, gang stalking where they live. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct while sitting in the middle of the street with their foot on the brakes. These are psychos. These are demons engaging in surveillance. And that's also mindful because that's why they're going to be prosecuted. That's why they're subject to raids where they live. That's why they're subject to what is criminal prosecution, the pattern of conduct where they live, where they're remaining, just like I've shown where I live, where I'm occupying a space such as a hotel room, where I'm in public. That's the same entity that's going to be prosecuted under all circumstances, at all times, and at any place, because that's where surveillance is underway. License 9DMX440. This is P.O.C. These are all demons that are gang stalking, and the entity is threatening my life. These fake Christians, they're not even acting like they're Christians. They're demons that are just engaging in what is cult membership, and doing so while they regard the Bible for fun, actually. And they're threatening me while the entity is using the church as a means of audible activity at the randomness time of 9:44 a.m. Typically, those bells go off at the start of every hour. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring me while I'm on my device, and the fake sun over me at that venue is the ongoing confirmation of that. There's no coincidences. It's also no coincidence when the airport has no takeoffs that are ever going to be over the sky space, let alone at the elevation, the audible noise in the specific environment. Fake sun, fake moon, engineer light by the demons. This is the entity that's engaging what is threatening me while they are aware that they're being documented. And psychopaths like that are going to prison and in mental wards. They're being separated from children. They're being deported out of the country. License 7S29246, 7XYK222, committing sexual assault and battery all night long. Demons that are obsessed with me, that want to be as close to me, want to touch me in my sleep. They also want to watch me in the nude on the internet. This is what the sex offense of the entity that's stalking me in planes and helicopters and as a department, committing kidnapping and gang stalking as a population. They're violent sex offenders. Jason Phillips and Tracy Banks are going to prison for leading in that criminal conduct that the entity shares in 8 LOF 516, 4 SJB 726, 9 LGY 800, 9 SBR 434. P.O.C. the entity is engaged in what is a threat. There is no, and this is like I stated, this is why I document it, because it's a straightforward prosecution. The government that is very dumb, there's no other way to put it, providing this level of evidence, because that's what it is with regard to a prosecution that's underway. You're not sacrificed, you just sacrificed yourself. And the entity is engaging what is sacrificing any means, but these are suicidal people who don't have an intention to have a defense in a courtroom. These are demons that are engaging in very desperate and very highly deranged and delusional conduct while they have been exposed. GWE L39, that's a Florida plate. And the entity is engaging what is stalking, clearly stalking, and the inexplicable placement of planes where pilots taking off from the Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 and conducting actual flights from any airport, let alone the Ontario International Airport, is going to expose what I've already shown through my evidence, that the entity is indeed engaged in a pattern of targeting in the environment, like I've stated, and doing so with knowledge of what it is that I'm documenting, even as I'm documenting it, which is also an unlawful threat when you are analyzing a government that is stalking, targeting with no authority under the law and for the unlawful purpose, which is relevant here, for murder for profit, theft of money and property, my identity, 8LDR252, and obstructing justice regarding these things that the entity has already committed. The entity is stalking in the airport, stalking as an airport while I'm walking through a parking lot, the church parking lot at 536 North Euclid Avenue, and doing so as I'm documenting the people of the state who are indeed monitoring and know that they're being documented, and that's also relevant. You know what they know while they engage in the pattern of conduct. P.O.C. It's 10:22 a.m. Alrighty. The entity is not flying over Bethel congregation anymore. They're stalking, remaining on the south side of my person as I go south on Euclid Avenue. This is all stalking by the people. And this is stalking by a government using another Southwest Airlines plane. Southwest Air, merely the identification of one terrorist. Every airline is engaging in the pattern of conduct with the people of the state. This is E Street in Euclid. When in the previous video, I'm in this parking lot back, and Southwest Airlines is again the demon, the demonic company that's used to engage in what is monitoring me, threatening me, harassing while I'm documenting the people of the state as I'm getting their license plates. And they are inside of that fake church monitoring with the airport that has no plane, no airport back here off of F Street, Lemon in this neighborhood, no airport that you're flying east of this street or east of this location. The airport is south of Holt Boulevard, and the entity is necessarily coming from the one airport in Ontario. So you are necessarily deviating from where the airport is, Terminal 2 and Terminal 4, to then engage in some idiotic hovering in the direction west as though you came from, nobody knows where the airport is at. But you're also looking at what is clear stalking. In the previous video, they're stalking me in this parking lot over here. As I go south, so does the plane activity stalking, and so is everyone else. Harvey's inside a Chevron gang stalking with the customers that I'm documenting. 7XIY347, 9EFF293. That's a psychopath that's stalking somebody by making a purchase at a facilitating venue. And it's the same with Spectrum. They're engaged in federal stalking. Spectrum has been engaged in the pattern of conduct with LAPD under the fake sun, engaging what is gang stalking, federal stalking, monitoring my devices, my internet inside of my private space, engaging in that pattern of conduct at Woodside Senior Apartments, engaging in gang stalking on the roads and the highways like they are now. This is a demon operating a vehicle which is engaging in the elements of monitoring with the government that's providing evidence against Spectrum, against the third party, against the entity altogether when you're stalking as an airport in the specific environment. You'll see in the images uploaded to the Google Drive, the fake sun is right here moving as I move as well. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's 10:50 a.m. This is Crossing Path. Psychopathic pacing is what I'm documenting. License 9NVW692, and this is impunity. You're going to prosecute them for that. They're stalking and acting in furtherance of murder in the face of the federal government. You're going to prosecute for all of this. It's all criminal, relevant positioning, light activity, audible activity, gang stalking in plain view, and so is the government using commercial planes. P.O.C. It is currently 10:50 a.m. This is stalking. Following, and you've already seen the video where the entity is stalking where I'm at inside of any building, engaging in surveillance, 9MLH393 strategically in the path, where the entity is stalking with planes, no longer over the ARCO parking lot, advancing back north. This is Bethel Congregation, that's the Euclid Avenue. This is where the entity has the fake sun, which I did capture today. It's covering it up. This is P.O.C. And this is 11:27 a.m. This is a threat to my life and safety. Can't even go to church without being gang stalked, and furtherance of murder, by the way. P.O.C. (8:38 p.m. at the Ontario Town Square, where you're listening to the audible activity, which is nothing other than demonic behavior. That's the sound coexisting with what is the presence in the engineered environment, meaning engineered light surrounds, where the entity is stalking with commercial planes. And they're doing so where the entity has been following me around all night long, by planes flying over me where I am located, as I've been documenting. I just want to get this video because this is speaking to what the entity has been doing systematically, and this is stalking regarding even my most minute movements. So as I dig into a bag, the entity is stalking with, that's monitoring you. So every move you make, following you with noise, light, or somebody coming out of the blue conspicuously stalking, like doing so in a police vehicle, that's monitoring you. That's what demons do, and the entity is doing this as a whole group. So you have a bunch of demon-possessed people that are monitoring me, and they're doing it using planes, and they're doing it using helicopters, they're doing it using what is the environment, engineer light everywhere that I go, every move that I make, including while demons are in vehicles, which on the surface appears like a car with headlights, but that's a demon crossing path in engineer light, and their headlights are the guys for what are molesting you with engineer light. These are stalkers. This is P.O.C. And that's the entity stalking me at the Ontario Town Square. This is a far cry from them hovering over the opposite side of this apartment building, like they were the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, while I'm at the ARCO in that parking lot. And the entity's engaging what is doing cartwheels and flying in this direction when I'm on the opposite side. This is that apartment building that they're stalking. Remember, again, I'm capturing another video while I'm at the Bethel congregation parking lot as I walk to then that Chevron. And then they're stalking, and they're remaining south of my person, stalking as I go. This is P.O.C. It's 8:40 p.m. This is sexual assault and battery. Just want to show you. This is impulsive light activity. And this is a sex offense. And here's my shadow down here. And here's all these shadows on the wall. This is a sex offender that's stalking with the government. All right, and this is a sex offense, and that's a demon that's stalking me together. They're not separate, and they're not strangers. This is actually mental illness, and this is lurking in the dark, stalking another woman, sexually violating her, touching on my buttocks, touching on my body, monitoring my device. And any manner of a threat is inside of this vehicle, conspiring your death with a gang stalking police department, a gang stalking airport, 6PXA 523. These are the same demons that the Ontario Police State are calling them, lying on me, stating that they have to come out providing what is criminal summoning. They're going to prison. That's a sex offense committed by the government, and I'm going to prosecute the people of the state as sex offenders. They're gang stalking. Your headlights, their headlights, that little piece of crap bucket, do not have powerful headlights. You're looking at demonic activity in real time. And this is where the airport is stalking. There is no airport behind this apartment building or beyond the property of the city hall. The airport is beyond what is Vineyard Avenue. If you look at Google Maps, south of Hope Boulevard. Even flying west from the airport is not going to be in alignment with the square where they're hovering. That's the entity that's gang stalking. Okay, that's P.O.C. That's the level of stalking that I'm subject to. Everybody in this apartment building, everybody on the streets, the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C. And this is the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun rises and sets, and where the entity keeps the fake moon over me as well. It is currently 8:59 p.m. and that's an entity that is monitoring what I'm doing on my cell phone as well. Title 18, federal stalking. Securitas just did a lap. Okay, he's engaging with his pacing, monitoring with the demons that are committing sexual violence. This is my shadow appearing in the shade in front of me. Okay, this is P.O.C. There's no lights back there that are creating that light activity. That street lamp is not causing my shadow to be projected. This is the pattern of conduct. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is, again, the reality of surveillance. And this is changing regarding legislation that needs to address the reality of criminal surveillance and what is domestic terrorism being targeted upon a criminal surveillance system, which the city of Ontario, the group of intellectually impotent, psychopathic, and delusional demons that don't know when to sit down when they've been exposed, have shown you how this surveillance system works. And they're going to prison for this. They're going to prison. That's now light activity that they're stalking in the path engaging in. Keeping my vagina under surveillance as well, understand that. That license plate is relevant to what is the entity that is gang stalking, and the Ontario police are being disbanded for having a population of stalkers keeping me under surveillance. P.O.C. It is currently 9 p.m. where they're now engaged in criminal summoning. P.O.C. Here's my shadow in front of me. They're demons. That is a demon. That is a demon-possessed person. And that's criminal activity. P.O.C. So you can hear that plane activity? What I want you to see is that the demons that are always flying on this side of the wall of the clock while I'm standing over there, the reason why they're not flying over here in front of me, which is where it would be if they were engaged in what is maintaining presence on the south side of my person pursuant to a documented pattern of conduct, except for when they're communicating a more aggressive threat, such as flying over the top of my head. The entities engaged in what is stalking, maintaining presence on the south side of my person, where you hear that plane activity, and where it's not flying over the town square like it is like moments ago when I'm standing on the opposite side of the clock. And when I come over here to be underneath the amphitheater area, this is where the demons are maintaining presence on the south side of my person. That's what they're doing at the Bethel congregation in that parking lot. That's what they're doing when I'm at the Chevron, and they're flying through the parking lot of ARCO. And this is the apartment complex, the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, where they're doing cartwheels over that apartment building, flying in the direction south while they are maintaining a presence south of my person. And then they're engaging what is maintaining presence on the south of my person when I'm at the square, at the wall right here on the opposite side of this clock. And now when I'm behind the clock, the entity is maintaining presence south of my person, stalking, moving as I move. And so are the people of the state and the violent sex offenders engaging in surveillance. Sounding sirens, which is audible activity by the demon-possessed. Did you know that the demon-possessed are operating police vehicles, ambulances, and fire trucks that they are going to be removed from as they pose a threat to the public? Engaging criminal surveillance, not emergency services. These are the circumstances that LAPD committed murder. P.O.C. The entity is doing that in this environment, which is not reconciled with artificial light. This is impossible light activity, and I'm showing you this environment everywhere that I'm at with regard to what is surveillance that's underway by an airport. That airport is a threat to national security. All right, these people are feces consumers. Their mental illness is so severe, it is likened to those that eat their own feces. That's how psychotic they are. And this is no longer a secret, and neither is the fact of them gang stalking me a secret. This is the Ontario Town Square at 224 North Euclid Avenue. That's a demon stalker with light. Now, that demon engaged in stalking me with light and is touching my person, pursuant to what is surveillance underway by the entire city, including the airport that is stalking in planes. Every airline is going to be prosecuted, and that airport, Ontario International Airport, is being shut down because it is not an airport. They share in mental illness, and the mentally ill have no business flying planes, as the Ontario International Airport has demonstrated to the world. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:04 p.m. Alrighty, it's currently 9:04 p.m. capturing video of what you are witnessing through audible activity, and also on the video, it's evidence of audible activity. The entity surrounding with light activity at Metro 102 in the parking lot of the Ontario Town Square. And this is the entity that's engaging in this level of conduct because I'm preparing to upload the videos. And this is the mental illness of the entity that engages in more terrorism. This is what you need to know. Detonating more bombs, engaging what are more stabbings, committing more shootings, mass shootings, engaging what is committing more criminal acts against as many people as possible while they are exposed as demons, while they're exposed as criminals, while they're exposed as pedophiles, having sex and violating as many children as possible. You fill in the blank. Because this is the entity that is mentally ill, psychopathic, that engages in that. And that is, again, their means of seeking to stop somebody from exposing. And as my YouTube channel and the website and you, all of the world that is witnessing, it has not slowed down the exposure. In fact, it accelerated, it underscored the very case that I have been maintaining. That's the entity that's obsessively stalking as an airport, that is going to engage in what is literally conceding a case in court. To stalking. And why are they stalking? To commit murder. And why are they conspiring to commit murder? Because the entity is engaged in what is seeking to steal my identity, the government that's engaging in surveillance, the government that is stalking as a population, the government that is clearly stalking as the airport has no problem exhibiting on one end of the case, but then on the other, when that ongoing criminal activity is used with regard to proving that you are incentivized to stalk me as a population in concert with that airport, in concert with that police department, in concert with that municipality. In other words, you're doing so upon what is my identity being stolen, money being stolen, a vast vast amount of money in different countries where the city of Ontario is at the core of where I'm subject to kidnappings and criminal defamation with regard to the conspiracy to murder me, to write me off when this entity committed murder, and none of that's going to happen. So now literally the entity is engaging in what is obvious stalking, like the airport is, obvious stalking, and obvious demons. Stalking and molesting my body with light, so you commit sexual, this is what you're deducing from that. They commit sex acts of violence while they are fearful of you exposing the fact that they commit sexual acts of violence. That's what the demon possessed do. That's the entity that is in need of martial law. That's the lawlessness that is a threat to national security, and it's existing in plain sight, and it's right in front of your face, and it is that which is driving public transportation in custody of children and in positions of authority and influence. They are also in positions where they threaten the public, such as being in law enforcement, being in the firefighting industry, and also flying commercial airline planes with other people aboard so that they can crash into mountains and then claim that a celebrity died from a tragic accident. They murdered that person. They killed those people in Kentucky. That's the mental illness behind ongoing stalking in this obvious manner at this high level of frequency, because I'm about to publish all of my documentation, like I'm always doing, and like it has never stopped me before. But the mentally ill who are psychotic and maniacal engage in more of that criminal and deranged behavior out of desperation. Desperation is a threat to American citizens. I hope that you're paying attention. This is P.O.C, Metro 102, the 280 North Lemon Apartments. The demons are sitting in their vehicles engaging in surveillance. The demons are pacing all around on the roads and the highways. That's engaging in surveillance. The demons are living and working in relevant position. That's surveillance. The entity's maintaining aerial surveillance through the psychopathic pacing in planes and, like I'm documenting, in helicopters. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:08 p.m. and this is prefacing the evidence that I'm going to publish online, and this is all relevant to the ongoing ceaseless pattern of conduct. And in court, it's going to play like an ongoing timeline chronologically, what the entity did here and then next and then next and then next, and what it is that I'm doing and the purpose behind that, and what is the entity's prosecution for not only the criminal pattern of conduct, but the pattern of conduct underway with the intent to obstruct justice, that is keeping the evidence under surveillance and then committing more acts of terrorism in furtherance of murder to try to harass and terrorize someone and deter them otherwise from reporting them to the federal government, which is not stopping me. But this is relevant to what is establishing legislation and precedent, because American citizens are not going to be stifled and deterred and murdered when they are seeking to document a government that's conspiring their murder, like the city of Ontario, the state of California is. And for that, you're also going to prison. You're not remaining as a mayor. You're not remaining as a police department when you're committing kidnappings. You're engaging in surveillance. You're not exercising any authority, executing duties as an officer. You have no due process rights under that body of law. This is an entity that is delusional with regard to what it's going to be confronted with as terrorists in a courtroom. This is P.O.C. Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are going to prison for all of the above. All right? These two nymphomaniacs that feast on feces and call it luxury, and call it delicacy because they're lying to you. They hate themselves, and they're thieves and con artists, and they engage in what is soliciting this violence while they steal from people and steal their identities, and also engage in raping them and murdering them. The system of gang stalking. And this is what these two demons use to steal my money and my property and my identity. And they're going to prison for everything that the city of Ontario, the state of California is committing and continues to commit. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:10 p.m. This is called stalking. And what you're paying attention to regarding the pattern is my positioning versus where the entity is positioning the planes. This is no takeoff, so we're already beyond the point of understanding that this has nothing to do with Terminal 2, Terminal 4 takeoffs. The entity is monitoring me, so as I move about on the property of the Ontario Town Square, that's where the entity is flying. So when I'm standing underneath this amphitheater, like I was in the previous video, the demons are flying south of my person. That's why they're not flying like they are now over the field. This is stalking. Okay, the entity is engaging in that with regard to, like you see, the people of the state stalking, molesting with engineered light. As I began walking away from the amphitheater, the demon possessed that are engaged in obsessive and hovering surveillance are stalking in planes. And as you can hear the ignition behind, they're engaging in surveillance in this parking lot, stalking as a population that commits murder together as well. This is license plate.
This is a stalker that's been sitting in the dark. They've been sitting here for a prolonged period monitoring my internet activity. License plate 8BZS251. That's state action. The police are being disbanded. These are stalkers that murder you, and then the police claim that they're investigating it. Okay? This is the reality of surveillance. The entity's engaged in what is monitoring what I'm doing. So looking for a hotel room, one moment it's available, the next they're all booked up, while the demon possessed that are monitoring are engaging in what is occupying the rooms. This is relevant to harassment while they're monitoring a target individual, everything that I buy online, places that I'm going to travel to, what it is that I'm purchasing. This is the entity that's monitoring using an entire airport and sitting in the dark. They were sitting here for a prolonged period stalking. So you're already in your car. There were no car doors that closed. Nobody walked toward the vehicle. They were already there stalking while the airport is stalking. You know that they're stalking. It's the fake moon. It is P.O.C. This is the Ontario Town Square. It is currently, by the way, where the entities engaged in that terrorism. That's terrorism where government and a people are stalking. It's 10:22 p.m. Currently 10:49 p.m. where the Ontario International Airport is maintaining criminal surveillance at the Ontario Ontario Town Square at 224 North Euclid Avenue, where they are doing so with the stalkers who are the people of the state. The people of the state that are engaged in gang stalking are domestic terrorists. The people of the state that are domestic terrorists engaging in gang violence are enemies of this country. You need to understand that these are homegrown sleepers, if you will. These are enemies of this country, enemies of the Constitution, enemies of human rights of American citizens. They murder American citizens. They target American citizens. They do so in clear opposition to your rights and your interests. And you're watching those who are in the United States of America, the people of the state, do so while they are being exposed in real time. So I just want to be clear that you're recognizing the legal ramifications, the implications regarding the people of the state exposed as domestic terrorists who are gang stalkers, who are doing so engaging in terrorism targeting with the United States government. That's what the city of Ontario is showing you. That's what the state of California has revealed. As I have documented it with regard to prosecuting and enforcing my rights, it needs to be recognized what is the threat to American citizens who are surrounded by those who are enemies of the Constitution, and American citizens who have a right to not be targeted, who have a right to not be stalked, who have a right to not be stalked by a gang of people that want to be them, that want to harm them, that want to steal from them, that want to persecute them, that want to retaliate against them for whatever reason that the demon-possessed engage in this gang violence, which is pursuant to criminal surveillance. Okay? The entities engaging in this with the people of the state, and the license plate of the terrorist that is stalking at the Ontario Town Square. Their license plate again is 8BZS521. They're on video stalking in the path, engaging in sexual assault and battery, and that is state action that is committed in furtherance of murdering me, while they are engaged in stalking me with the government that is in the same video evidence, serving to prosecute them as I prosecute the people of the state like that third party. I'm prosecuting the population, and I'm prosecuting the government for the criminal conduct that third party representing the people of the state are sharing in. While the entities engaging in the criminal conspiracy regarding criminal surveillance, stalking, gang stalking, which is the entity conspiring murder against someone that they're stalking together, they are providing evidence against each other. The state stalking directly provides evidence against the people of the state. The state stalking vicariously, the people of the state provide evidence against the state, proving that they are indeed engaged in a shared pattern of conduct, conspiring the murder while they are together sharing that pattern of conduct in that specific environment, not coincidentally acting in the same pattern of conduct in that environment, but pursuant to the conspiracy to target someone that they have conspired to murder and kidnap. And they do so while they maintain that unabated program of psychological torture. This is gang stalking, and it is relevant to what is the people of the state who are going to prison for every act of kidnapping, every act of criminal summoning. And when they are engaging in what is the impermissible threat, stalking you, threatening you, monitoring you in your face in the United States of America with a corrupt police department who pull out their weapons and commit murder while they're engaging in that criminal surveillance system. And the people of the state are going to federal prison for participating, facilitating that. That's the same way in which that same duo engage in bearing false witness and accomplish kidnapping American citizens. They're going to prison for this terrorism that's underway in the United States, and it is gang stalking. Again, that third-party license plate is license 8 Bob Zebra Sam 521, driving the white Altima, and the entities engaging in that pattern of conduct together
6PXA523 is the license plate of the third party sharing in that pattern of conduct, keeping me under surveillance, keeping an American citizen under surveillance, and the psychopathic, deranged, and weirdly obsessive manner that a population shares. The abnormality of this criminal pattern of conduct is relevant to what is demon possession. And so it needs to be known, and this is what is exposed by evidence, not my opinion, that the condition of demon possession is what is inspiring this criminal activity, which is mentally ill behavior, and it is a national security threat while a government is engaging in this with the population that's practicing what is gang violence. Their mental illness, that is their demon possession, is a threat to the public. Okay, so this is not a matter of what is passing on some religious belief. This is a fact regarding the threat of those who are mentally ill based on what is their spiritual condition. Those that are demon possessed are those that are engaging in what is the demonic behavioral pattern of federal group stalking and monitoring you with light, monitoring you with amplified noise, monitoring you while they are in the path in that specific environment, engaging in what is criminal surveillance with the government. And it is mental illness while their behavior is manifest with regard to prosecuting them with tangible evidence, but it needs to be known that demon possession is a threat to the public. And that's what's wrong with the entity that is gang stalking, and that is also what you are understanding about this criminal system, which is a threat to the public. The demon possessed are the domestic terrorists that are gang stalking. It is currently 10:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is 434 North Euclid Avenue, ARCO, where the entity is stalking as I'm leaving the Ontario Town Square, where the airport's maintaining ongoing criminal surveillance. This is ongoing surveillance by the same city of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department, who are, again, light-slinging demons who are obsessively stalking, contrary to what Sergeant Hall would like to reflect as her audible activity, gang stalking me in Engineer Light at the same OVITT Family Community Library, where that department is engaged in daily stalking. Daily. All right, that's P.O.C. Finally, while I walk from the Ontario Town Square, where the entity is maintaining stalking conduct with the people of the state, this is stalking. They're all stalking together. This is surveillance of that system. And they're doing it in the engineered environment. They're all driving in light with multiple shadows, light that's vacillating all over there. I've shown you the details regarding the environment where the government is stalking me from place to place. And the entity's doing it while a fake moon is over me. This is the same parking lot. This is the moon. There's only one moon, and that same moon is over one person, again, like I'm documenting. During the day, the fake sun over me, and it's over the same location as well. In this environment, you're the details. This is my shadow that's on a curb, way in front of me. You see me waving my hand? That's impossible light activity. So let me move a little bit. This is my head over here. This is my hand. I'm waving it. That's impossible light activity. It's right here on the ground in front of me. This is my shadow right here. That curve that's way over there, that's impossible activity. That's where they're stalking. All the people that say they're surrounding me, they're stalking. They go to the gas stations, the gas stalls. They think that they're slick and clever. Those are demons that are stalking with the government. That's very obvious, stalking. And this is the government that's engaged in what is kidnapping, putting my name on the internet as though they committed a lawful arrest while they are stalking me and then committing what are via malicious assertions, crimes and allegations that are false. Pursuant to this gang stalking system, they're going to federal prison, in other words, and so are the demons stalking me by helicopter. They are not mysteries. They're going to literally report it in a courtroom, and they're going to federal prison. And everyone with the Ontario police that committed kidnapping are going to prison. This is the entity that is engaged in stalking me by helicopter as I go from place to place, and I'm documenting the ongoing pattern of conduct where I'm showing you this impossible light activity under the fake moon, where that department is full of stalkers, and they're engaged in criminal surveillance, which you need to know is underway in the United States. They're not engaged in traffic. They're in Engineer Light. This is what the demon possessed are doing. They're pacing all around you. They're psychopaths. They're monitoring you. This is P.O.C. It is 434 North Euclid Avenue, and it is currently 11:29 p.m. Alrighty, the reason why I'm capturing it is this is well beyond what is the legal threshold proving targeting by the government. It's because I'm going to make sure that everyone understands that the entity is not only engaged in targeting me, they've been so for years. in concert with the demon-possessed people of the state. They're touching me with light. That's impulsive light activity. And they're doing so while they have been engaged in repeatedly kidnapping. I'm not only proving targeting, the entity is going to federal prison while they've been engaged in targeting, and the airport is engaged in every kidnapping that the Ontario Police Department committed. They've been monitoring. These are psychopaths that engage in psychopathic pacing. While they are invigorated, they are enthusiastic, they are engaging in a ritual pacing all around me while the entity does things like put handcuffs on me while they're monitoring and kidnapping me and taking me to jail. The demons engage in celebratory conduct when they behave as animals. It's occurring in the engineered environment while they're pacing all around monitoring. The Ontario International Airport that has no flights taking off from Terminal 2 to Terminal 4. The Ontario Airport that's stalking me now that I'm on what is the the north side of the same Ontario, downtown Ontario luxury apartments. This is what they're doing flying over the Ontario Town Square, and you're looking at what is psychopathic pacing. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is engaged in criminal surveillance in violation of Title 18. The people of the state regarding the policy of federal group stalking and monitoring, i.e. gang stalking. They are going to federal prison where they are sharing in the elements of monitoring, light activity, audible activity, relevant positioning with the police, as I've documented the people of the state engaging in, like this. And the entities engaging in what is conspicuously stalking by the police, like with helicopter, for example, they're going to prison. The entity that's engaging in what is kidnapping, the gang stalking pilots that are sharing in kidnapping while they're monitoring, while you're being molested with light, while the kidnappers themselves are engaged in that pattern of conduct. And it's centered on the police because those are the ones that get you into the system while they're keeping you under surveillance, and then they defame your character. That is to frame you for the circumstance for murder and kidnapping. This is an entity stalking you and then kidnapping you. That's impossible light moving all across the trees. This is a demon over here. This is a psychopath. Okay, I'm going to show you what are the demon possessed that are monitoring with the Ontario police who are stalking. License EB57F46. This is the same molestation that they're doing at the Ontario Town Square. The demons that are stalking me on the opposite side of this apartment building where there's no planes or takeoffs, these are cycles. That's not their headlights. This is a demon possessed person. You're being monitored. The Ontario police are being disbanded because they incentivize this violence. These are the demons that murder you, and the police then claim that they don't know who did it and they're investigating it. These are the demons that are going to mental asylums. Stalking with light is certifiable conduct. This is a psychopath and a sex offender. License EB57 Frank 46, and ARCO is going to be prosecuted for it as well. This is P.O.C. Yeah, this is P.O.C. The entity's going to federal prison. That's the people of the state that the police claim are calling them, making malicious assertions, and they're stalking together. Criminal summoning is an act of terrorism, and they're going to prison. That's the pattern of conduct, and that's what the airport is stalking me with. That's what the police are stalking me with. That absurd level of mental illness occurring under what is clear evidence of targeting a fake environment, a demonic environment, in other words. That's P.O.C. It is currently 11:45 p.m. So you're just looking at Google Maps. The entity is stalking as I'm at the Ontario Town Square, moving as I move up and down Euclid Avenue. That was the Bethel congregation. I was at Chevron. The entity is stalking in the parking lot. I'm on the opposite side of this apartment. They're flying over the town square. I'm under the amphitheater. They're flying over the Metro 102. That's the airport that's stalking. This is a case that's already proven. This is the mental illness regarding what are terrorists that are homegrown, terrorists that are going to be prosecuted in the United States. P.O.C. Those are stalkers. They just drove onto the property to engage in what is a molestation. My shadow appeared on the trees behind me. That has nothing to do with headlights. And this is an entity that's providing evidence against the people of the state who are going to prison. They're getting deported. They're losing their kids. They're a threat to children while they're engaging in gang stalking. Oh yeah, they're having sex with children. They're murdering children. They're trafficking children. They're giving birth to children to engage in sex acts with them. That's what the demon possessed that are gang stalking do. They kidnap them, they move them all around the world in different countries, and like I'm showing in the United States, they gang stalk them. And the entity is doing so. The Ontario International Airport is exhibiting severe mental instability, a threat to the country. It's going to be shut down. While it's engaging in impunity now, the same impunity is going to be used to shut down that airport permanently. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:46 p.m. and there's no coincidence that this is the same area where the police are stalking. Driving is never going to cause my shadow to appear projected on any trees. And also, you're talking about the light activity. The previous video where my shadow's appearing on this curb over here, they're all stalking. This is surveillance. And these are demon-possessed people. These are serial killers and pedophiles. These are stalkers, and they're engaged in 24-hour surveillance in the United States. They are monitoring you. This is P.O.C.